This is an introduction to the ATADATA Discovery Module. As you can see here, you would sign in from the UI homepage, and at that point you will be taken to a screen where you will identify different characteristics of a completed discovery. At this point there's no data to be found, so we'll initiate a subnet scan on the left hand pane there by clicking the subnet scan. This will allow us to identify all the hosts and on the entire network, so we can queue it up for further discovery. So you can see here we've identified Linux and Windows operating systems by IP address, and then this allows us to sort at the top for different characteristics, whether it's Windows or different device types. And of course you have the ability to export this into a CSV file, so you can continue to do a more credentialed and comprehensive discovery. But once again, the first step in the process is to complete a subnet scan, and once again we'll go ahead and collect all the hosts in the environment. So once the CSV is made available by downloading it to your local machine, you can just add the time you want to scan, the length of time. We recommend between 4 to 6 weeks for an enterprise class environment, shorter if it's maybe a test and dev type of infrastructure, or there may be some timelines associated with any migration or disaster recovery activities. So in this case, we'll create a credentialed profile. And once again, we do not need to know the credentials, just a friendly name, so the credentials can be entered by your customer without you having to know what the actual credentials are. You also have the ability to initiate a single discovery, so in case the credentials are not correct for the initial collection of mass collection, you can also scale back. Once again, you copy the friendly name in there. You also put in the company name, the hours you'd like to collect, and then at that point you're prepared to import the spreadsheet for a credentialed comprehensive discovery. And so the discovery covers numerous different characteristics. We look at production, we look at production performance, we look at infrastructure details like disk, RAM, and so forth, and we also look at application affinity mapping, so we can actually design and build comprehensive move plans and waves so you can execute your migration or any type of disaster recovery activities. So as you can see here, you also, as I mentioned, can initiate that single discovery, and we're going to walk you through that in the video here, and you can see how simple it is, simply requiring the credentials along with a IP address and password. As you can see here, the scan is initiated. Once the scan is complete, you're ready to start reviewing and doing analysis on the reports. You can also track the performance of the data collection by looking at the event log, which will tell you exactly where we are in the process. So that's particularly important when you're working through any troubleshooting, any connectivity issues associated with your discovery efforts. So once as you can see here, the scan has been completed, we immediately go into the reports. So you have the ability to, as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, browse and look for any different types of assets and that you've already collected. And we're going to select two hosts, so we can look at an online view or report of what the characteristics are in this particular collection. The first thing we're going to do when we open the online view, as we can see all the infrastructure details, operating system type, RAM, disk space available, firewall ports, services that are running, applications that are installed on the computer and on the server, and all this stuff is searchable and collectible. So these are some standardized base reports that we do. As you can see, the firewall rules are there, application communication at the port layer, so you can actually start building out plans and strategy. There's the performance report that we mentioned, CPU and RAM, so you can really understand how that current environment is performing and how that will scale to future state. So these are available online and viewable, as you can see there. We also have the ability to download and have offline reporting, which is available both in CSV format and Excel or CS and PDF format. So you can see here all these standard reports are immediately available for consumption. We also have the ability to create customized reporting per client request, so that you can search and do analysis on data points that are especially critical to what your purpose is on this particular effort during the discovery process. So you can see here we can extract the contents and open the files. You can see the standardized reporting, connection details. So this is some of the raw data we're able to capture, which will give you, really insight into application communication in your environment, by application name, number of connections, source to target, which is the sources and what's the target, so you can understand how the traffic is flowing in this particular application communication work stream. And that's, once again, the raw data by server. So all this is, as I mentioned, very detailed information that you can actually use to build out a strategy for your execution. So we're looking here at the Data Center Intelligence Tool Mapping Report, and this is also the connection data analysis, but it's in a PDF format. So it's just easily consumable, color-coded, so you can really understand, how much communication is actually happening, high, low, medium, so you can understand what the relationships are. Not saying each high, low, medium references the criticality of the environment, because you may have one important batch process that runs once a month, and that may register as low affinity, but we do capture that, and it's important to understand what the environment looks like just from that standpoint. Now, if you look here, this is the infrastructure report that you saw online. So, all these reports, as I mentioned, are available for your consumption and analysis. So this is the performance reports. You can see here some of the actual diagrams. The view online is one comprehensive view or one centralized view. In this case, you will have the ability to print out specific reports just for performance, production, and of course application, communication, and affinity. So go a little further, we'll look at what we call a technical solutions document. This gives you an idea of what the source environment looks like in a more editable format in Excel. It allows you to also build out what the target environment is going to look like in an Excel format, so you can actually get sign off from your customer on how they want to proceed. Do they want to scale their environment to 10, 15%, 20% for future? You have the ability to at least present that to them in a fashion that's consumable, and have a conversation around what the future state will look like and what recommendations you might make. So at this point, we always talk about how a picture is worth 1,000 words, and in this example, we have our visualizer enhancement that allows you to turn all that raw data into a digestible format where you can just take it in visually, so you can actually look at the architecture as it currently is from a visual standpoint. So in this case, we're going to select a one server, and then we're going to execute its dependencies. So within minutes, you'll see the actual outputs presented for review. This is all the internal communications, and then we're going to include external servers, and these are servers that are out of scope. These are servers that the client, when we're not aware of, is actually communicating with these servers at the application layer. So it's important to really understand what the environment looks like, not just from the ownership or understanding from the client, but also raw data, and really tunneling in and digging in on there's some of the risks that goes along with these types of transitions, and we're able to uncover those in a pretty seamless manner and put it in a visualization format for you. We also have the application dependency view, and the application dependency allows you to pick all the discoverable applications in the environment and allow you to choose and select the server communication, but not just at the infrastructure level, but the application. And this is actually an export of the actual previous document in a PNG. But we're going to show you what application looks like. We look at all the discoverable applications that I mentioned earlier, and we're going to select that. And once we select that, we will give the client a real view of what this AA application really looks like in the environment. So when they're trying to move and strategize on execution, these servers should be moved as one particular wave to ensure application performance. And we're going to review another application here, and same view. And in this visualizer, you have the opportunity to structure your architecture or your diagram the way you prefer it. So you do have some opportunities there to do some edits. And here's another application view. Once again, you have the ability to export into an image format that that's presentable and can be distributed to the client as a result of the collection. So one of the important enhancements, as we discussed, I think from the beginning, is we have the ability to analyze performance. We have the ability to analyze application conversation, as well as all the infrastructure details. All of those options are once again configurable, and we do have some custom reporting options available. As you can see here, this is what the outputs look like on a console that the data collection has been successfully performed, and you can see some of the trends, some of the workloads that you need special attention to when you're trying to do some portability activities. Is critical, and really we put those critical and at-risk workloads at the front on the dashboard, so you can really look at it and analyze it. So in this case, we're going to show you how you can create a move group. We click the move group option, and now you have the ability at this point to create a move plan that you can execute at any time. So once we group this servers and have this detail, we can stage a group of servers based on this application layer communication. We can export it. Once we create the group, we can save the group, and then we can set it in the queue for migration. So once that data is collected and put into a migration group, you can import it into the console for the motion console, which is another product we have for migration, at current time or just at a determined time in the future. So that's really flexible, but it gives you an opportunity to define your plans prior to execution. So you have all these dependencies, and you want to combine business intelligence and the raw data to actually strategize on these move plans. You just don't want to depend on raw data, because there may be some business requirements associated with migration. We went over to the motion console. As you can see at a motion console, the jobs are currently queued up and ready for execution. At this point, you would just need to specify a target environment, and your workloads will be moved completely online at a very brisk pace. So thank you for taking time to review this product with us. I look forward to sharing other products with you in the future.